Welcome back to our Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea campaign. This is, I believe, session 84. The party they're in the Valley of Mists, and they have encountered one city, the city of Karak. That seems like there's some pretty nice people there, religious types and all. And they have now crossed the river that splits the Valley of Mist in half, and have encountered there hasn't been a conversation yet, but they've encountered some very small humanoids, not like the legendary dwarves, more like just small humans, formed like children for the most part, but with musculature as adults, and bows trained on them. So before we get too far into that, let's intro the characters and see what we got going on. We'll start with Crystal. Tell us about your character.
I play Rowan Siege. She is a pyromancer. A little bit, usually kind of stays quiet, likes to be in the background, but she can be a bit of a hothead when the time comes for it. And yeah, that's her, Rowan Siege.
Fight fire with fire, right? Okay. Nikki, tell us about your character.
I'm Pinesta. She's a bard. And right now she is wondering what to do about this hawk that Rowan Siege has requested be got rid of because she doesn't want it following us back to the village. Because we're not sure that's at this point who to trust. Although Laura did give us our stuff back. So she's in a bit of a dilemma, but that is not unusual for Pinesta the bard.
Always a dilemma. And rounding out the group tonight, Mike, tell us about your character.
I'm playing Helene Sofidoros. She is an Amazonian warrior priestess of Rorus. She can be quiet, but she also can be very edgy. She is waiting to see, and she's going to cue off what other people are going to do right now. Because right now, yes, she's going to do she's taking the wait and see. Because she would rather not just go storming in there. That's the lead.
Makes sense. He says this now, but we'll see what happens when she starts going. So, just a brief summary. Last session, the party escaped from Karak. They had been held prisoner after, I don't think that you actually heard the official charges, but you had been charged with trying to kill the high priest. They were trying to decide what to do with you. And with the help of Lore, the witch woman, they escaped through a Sally Port in the city, ran through the fields out into the woods, and fortunately a terrible rainstorm fell, making it impossible for the horsemen from the city to chase them. And after a little bit of travel, they ended up at the river, which was spoken of before, the large river that divides the city, City of Mist, which is a really good RPG, by the way, Valley of Mist in half. They crossed using their, Laura gave them back their gear, as Pinesta mentioned, and they crossed using their portable boat, and a folding boat, I should say. And upon reaching, and Laura said that they were going to be followed by her hawk. It's flying about 250 feet in the air right now, circling around, going to kind of follow them. They are charged with finding the city of Cirque so that the Karakians can lay siege to it. But out of the tall grass and trees popped a couple dozen, as I mentioned, very tiny humanoids. They then spoke in a language, though accented strangely, was clear to someone in the party, which was, I believe, Podesta, as it was a Lemurian language. And they said, something to the effect of, women of Karak, why has Lur sent you? And that's kind of where we leave it. So you've got some arrows trained on you, a bunch of little people. They have bows. I think I mentioned that they have bows. They are otherwise unarmed or unarmored, I should say. They're basically naked, so they're not armored or anything. They're not on horses or anything, but they do have bows, and they're like maybe 50, 60 feet away from you.
So, you know Lure. I'll say
You say that, oh, yeah. So
Yes.
you say that you could actually see the little man who addressed you in this. He's got kind of this golden bronze skin, but you actually see him flush a little bit, and it tightens his eyes and squints at you as you say that name, almost with anger. And he says, "All know the witch. Why are you crossing the river and breaking the sanctuary that was given us?"
Well, we are fugitives from Karak. And if you don't, I look over at Rowan Seach and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. If you don't want Lure to know where you are, I would shoot that hawk up there. And I kind of just look up to where the hawk is circling.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You notice a little bit of like a hesitation, and he kind of doesn't want to look away from you. Obviously, has a bow pointed at you, and then he says, "Torin, is there a hawk above?" And Torin looks up and says, "Yes, Laura's beast circles." And he says back to you, "That proves nothing, except that you work with Lore. We saw you across the river receiving gifts."
They weren't gifts. This was our equipment that was taken from us. And it's true. I've worked with Lore when it was expedient. But I wouldn't say we're friends, and I certainly wouldn't say we're on the same side.
The treaty prevents all from Karak from crossing.
Well, that's good. We are not from Karak. We're from the lands outside the valley. And yes, they exist. The people of Karak are constantly lied to by their leaders.
He kind of looks at you, and then you can see he's kind of studying now the two raven-haired companions. And he says, "If we give you sanctuary, Karak will see the treaty broken, and Tibor and his men will run us down."
Tibor. Why would they think the treaty was broken? We're not from Karak.
"So you say. But your hair."
My hair has been many colors. It's red now, but I'm not from Karak. And even if I can promise you, if Tibor comes this way, we will help you against him.
He says, "If you come peacefully as our prisoners, we will take you and decide what to do." And you actually notice that after he says that, you feel him put a little bit more tension on his bow, like he's waiting for you to react, and that's what is going to make the decision.
Okay, everybody just stay calm. I will say in my regular in common to Rowan Seach and Helene, I'll say, prisoners.
What
Well-
about prisoners?
Huh?
What about prisoners?
I just look back and I say, they want us to come peacefully as prisoners. They don't trust us. They think Tibor will run them down if they take us in. I don't think they're evil. I just think they're scared.
Okay.
I
So
turn
they
back
want us
to
to
the.
go as prisoners?
Yes, let me get a little more information. And I distinctly do not put my hands anywhere near my weapons. And I say to the man, if we come as prisoners, does that mean you will take our weapons? We can't help you if we are unarmed.
We will take your weapons. If you are proven to be truthful, you will get them back. If not, you will be sent to swim back across the river.
I'll say this to, I say, just let me relay this to my friends so that they don't do anything rash. And I'll turn back to Rowan, Siege, and Helene, and I'll say, they want our weapons. They say if we are proven to be truthful, we'll get them back. I have a feeling that this guy is not lying, but I'm not going to speak for all of us. What do you think?
I'll just slowly put my hands out to my sides.
Okay. What about Rowan Siege? Do you?
I want to kill that hawk. Ask them if they'll kill the hawk.
Okay. We'll go with you as prisoners. We will give up our weapons. Will you kill the hawk?
To kill the eyes of lore will bring lore down upon us. And
Okay.
she is wise to stay out of range.
Okay. I'll start to like set my weapons on the ground, my sword and my boomerang. And then I'll look back at Rowan Siege and just say, they think if we kill the hawk, that Laura will know something's wrong and she'll come after them.
Fair. I'll set my weapons on the ground as well.
Okay. Two of the little people run forward. They put their bows down on the ground, and they just run forward with nothing. And they're pretty quick for considering how small they are. And they kind of come and gather up your stuff. You can see that all the others have bows trained, so that if you were to try to like grab them or something, you would quickly find yourself pin-cushioned, which would be the second time for Ron Siege 2 days. So assuming that you allow them to take the stuff, they take it, and then the little man says, "Follow me, and we'll speak." And then he turns and he starts walking. And some of them kind of stay around so that when you follow, they kind of they circle around you. They all have they're not obviously they can't hold it drawn forever, but they still have their bows in their hand, but they don't, and they stay about 20-30 feet away from you.
Okay.
As they kind of lead you through, trying to stay safe. Clearly, they've escorted prisoners before. And they start to bring you. So if you go with them, you travel a little bit through this. Each one of these hexes, remember, is 1 mile. You travel a bit through this hexes. Through this kind of more kind of field with like a little bit of trees, but not so much. There seems to be a fairly clear path that doesn't go through the thickness of the forest. And all along, every once in a while you look up and you do see the bird following you.
Okay. Well, there's not much I can do about that.
Yeah. Now, they come to here, and then they kind of go under this canopy of very, very thick trees over here. They lead you this way. And once you're under this trees, like you look up, you can barely see above you. So whatever the hawk wouldn't necessarily be able to see where you were. It's probably circling. I mean, obviously birds can see pretty well and stuff, but they're taking you through a much more forested area. And each one of these is a mile, so it's taking a while to traverse this. And eventually you end up in a village area. I'm going to clear this off now so it looks nice and neat. Well, I don't know how neat it's going to look, but clearly they should make a a Siri app or an Alexa app where you can just say, clear the hexes on roll 20. Let's see if we can get somebody to make that. Okay, something like this. I know you can't see what I'm doing. Oh, I'm clearing it. There we go. All right, yeah. So you end up, there's some kind of stones, you know, some large rocks. They look like they are probably like glacial, you know, like they look like they're not like a mountain that's going up there. They look like large rocks that were deposited at some point that surround this kind of small village. And you can see that up behind the village, there is some farmland, which I'm clearing out now. That you can probably very easily see that as you come in. And as you approach the village, the man that was talking to you, he turns and says, Lemurian, he says, bring them to the front. And then he actually kind of shoots off to the side where the rocks are. And then the rest of the group is leading you in for like the last mile or so. And after just a couple minutes, you start hearing what is effectively drums. It's kind of like small drums sounding. And I mean, you've been around long enough to understand that they're probably some kind of signaling, because you can hear drums being sounded in other places as well. And as you kind of approach the village, a group of little people, they're not armed. They're all kind of in, you know, they're just either naked or they have like very basic clothes on. Kind of come swarming out towards you, and in the center of them, walking with them, is a woman. She looks to be like in her young 20s, like pretty young. She is stark black hair. She looks to be kind of, you would imagine based on the look of her, to be kind of a common look to her. So she's got a mix of things. And she is, she's actually wearing a dress. And she has hanging from it some various little, like, what you might think of as like totems and stuff, like little pieces of, because you've all been around magic, like little bits of like material components or whatever you might call it. So, and she's walking with them, big smile. She's not armed. And as they kind of come out, they kind of circle around, almost like they want to, you know, they're curious basically. As you get the little bits and pieces of it as in Lemurian, and you notice as part of this crowd that man that led you comes back in. Like he kind of comes through the crowd and ends up right next to the woman, and she stops like, you know, 50 feet away from you or whatever, and then kind of looks you over a bit, then walks a little closer, you know, so she doesn't yell at you, and she says. Shri says you are no friend of Lore and are refugees from Karak.
That's true.
And she's speaking in the Lemurian as well.
Marion, okay.
Yeah. And she says, I've not seen warriors cross the river.
Well, we are from outside the valley. We are here to try to help something terrible, stop something terrible from happening, but our every turn is met with more and more people that we just can't trust. And Karak itself is very much corrupted. And we came across the river to try to find help, for I believe that Lure and even maybe some of the others are trying to bring Kraku across into this plane. Just laying it out there. Tired of.
Yeah. She listens, and she says, those across the river worship a god that destroys. They took my people, and she kind of, you know, puts her hands out, see her, says she's people, as their sacrifices until 5 years ago, a treaty was made and the bridge was destroyed. What they do now is their business. Why are you involved? What evil could they possibly do more than to kill weekly?
Well, I believe that lore means to bring their god through into this dimension permanently. And I think instead of killing weekly, I believe Kraken will kill indiscriminately until there's nothing left. I believe it would be the end of everybody, not just those being sacrificed weekly. I believe it would be the end of your people, my people that exist outside the valley. I think Hyperborea itself would would be rent in fire and blood.
You are truly from outside the valley?
Outside the valley, I'm from a fishing city called Khromarium. And while there was a great plague and death 1,000 years ago, we are resilient, aren't we? We people, and we have rebuilt. And while it's not perfect out there, there's much worth fighting for and much worth saving. And there's much worth saving here in this valley as well. And I believe that what they're doing over in Karak is going to make it dangerous to just exist.
She kind of nods her head and she says, I came to this valley before I can remember. And Shri here, he points to the little man that kind of brought you in, raised me. They do not know how. I was found, though, in the forest.
Hmm?
We suspected, or they suspected, Shri suspected, that I came from outside the valley, but no one could imagine how that could be or how one could leave. So I have been here. I do not have any love for Tibor lore or the ways of those of Karak, but we are farmers and foresters. We are not warriors, true, as they are. How could we stop such a thing?
Well, you don't have to stop it. But I think that we can. Somehow. If we could find Cirque, and we could perhaps have them help us attack the city, cause a distraction, so that I can do what needs to be done with the priests and Tibor, and probably also Lure. But we can't do that without help. We need help. We are only 3, sometimes 4. Or 5. And
Depending on the week.
yeah. And we need help because there are many factions in Karak. And despite my best efforts, I've been unable to manipulate the situation to where I can get the item we need. There is a ring the high priest has.
Yoden,
Yep. He has a ring, and if we can get the ring, we can figure out a way to seal the gateway, or at least keep Kraken on his side if we can destroy the ring with Kraken on the right side. But if the ring is destroyed with Kraken on this side, or there's some weird thing about if a woman destroys it or something, they say Kraken can stay on this side, and that is, I believe, what Lure would like to do. Keep Kraken on this side. And that would not be good.
you have given me much to think on. We will give you a place to stay and think about this.
Okay.
Yeah. And then she turns and starts walking and kind of parts the crowd, and
Yeah.
they allow you to kind of follow them.
Well,
Fall
what is
behind.
your name? What is your name? Before she leaves.
Well, she's leading you. Yeah. She didn't say anything.
Okay. What's her?
She turns back and she says, I'm sorry. The shock of seeing you made me forget manners. I am Evilly.
Evilly. Oh. I've heard that name before. Sorry, that's not Podesta, that's me.
I will check my notes.
Yeah.
So she turns and starts to lead the party effectively towards where the stones are. You see there's actually a lot of caves cut into them with kind of effectively barracks. And they bring you in to one where you can stay together. And you see that your weapons are in there. They're just kind of leaning against the wall. The man who you originally talked to, Shri, says there will need to be a council to discuss what you have said. We have not seen the like of you. And he looks at Helene and Ronsich, who of course can't understand him, except in Evilly, and she is all good. So perhaps that will sway the council. And then he kind of turns and leaves. And a couple of more men and women come in and they bring you kind of food and wine and stuff, the normal stuff. And they're going to let you rest. Because actually you traveled like all night, so you're going to need to probably just chill for the day. So effectively they're going to, you can, if you want to do something or meet somebody or whatever, they're going to basically leave you for a day. So you can, you're kind of in this barracks thing. You can walk around a little bit, but you can,
right.
They're going to kind of leave you for the night. We'll say it's like the middle of the day right now, so they're going to leave you so you can get a rest. So if you wanted to leave or go meet somebody or whatever, you can do that. But otherwise, you guys can just make a plan, and then we'll jump to the next morning.
I just I look at Rowan Siege and Helene. I say, Evilly. I remember now where I've heard that name. In Lure's Tower, she told us that, or somebody, the little people have a witch, and her name was Evilly.
Remember a dark witch.
Right. I just think,
Well, hopefully an ally, which
hopefully, considering I told her everything. But I honestly, I think at this point, the time for subterfuge is pretty well past. So I hope you guys are okay with what I've done, but we need help, and I don't see any other place to get it.
I trust you implicitly, Panesta.
I do
Yeah.
wish they would have killed the hawk, but
I wish I would have killed the hawk.
Speaking of, do we see the hawk anywhere?
You have not seen the hawk since you've gone under the covers of the tree.
Maybe there's magic protecting this place. They do say that they haven't been able to find this city, and it seems that if Lore could send out hawks like that, they should have been able to find it by now.
Right.
It's only a few miles through forest.
well, they can't find Cirque. We're not in Cirque, right?
I don't know where we are. I assume this was Cirque.
Nobody has told you the name of the village that you were in, but you could certainly ask somebody. There are lots of little people kind of, you see, but so just to give you an idea here, again, there's like you see a lot of farmland. There is kind of this main kind of central, that little house thing in the middle. That's kind of the central village area or the square where you met. There is actually what looks like it could be similar to what you saw where Karak was, not Karak, where Kakru was called. There was almost like a natural stone building that had a cut door in it. There's kind of that sitting in the center. It looks a little different, but it's because that same kind of structure. And then you've got a lot of these like kind of like glacial stones that have like probably dropped down when this place was probably full of ice at some point. And they've like been chiseled out these dormitories. And you can see that this was actually worked. It's like they cut this room that you're in from stone. And in here, you've got like the straw pallets and stuff, and they brought, it's like a little table. Everything's really small, of course. They just put, extra straw for you. They do have, you do notice, I mean, as you're looking around, that because they're bringing them by, they have like mules and such, like full size, mules and stuff that they work in the fields with. And not a lot of them. And you notice that they have, the place is very, very decorated. Like you see lots of flowers, you see lots of kind of nature everywhere. It's very kind of overflowing with color and trees and bloom, and it's very, it kind of, you'd think you've seen something like this before, where it's been very kind of like super beautiful, almost Eden, if you will, for lack of a better word, type with flowers and stuff. Yeah, which you'll have to check your notes for that.
Really?
Panesta,
know.
these small people are they smaller than the people of Lemuria that you've spoke of before?
Are they?
Yeah, they're roughly like 2.5 to 3 feet tall. So
Okay,
yeah,
so yeah,
they're little people. Yeah.
Yes, they are smaller than the Lemurians that I've met. They were small. She smiles fondly, thinking of Tam and Muda, but they were
Right.
very, very brave.
I read a book once that wrote of hobbits, but I always like to call them halflings.
Well, they seem to be not terrible, and that's a good thing right now.
Yeah. You do notice that some of them have like some clothing on, like occasionally a loincloth or jewelry and stuff, but for the most part, they all have this very long black hair, and they're, really golden bronze skin, and they're no shoes or anything. They're just kind of walking around. They're kind of one with it, but they're definitely people, so they don't look like, they're not like animalistic or anything in their shape. They just kind of look like people that are just chill with nature. Did you
Okay.
want to address any of them and ask them?
Yeah, we should, right, guys? Excuse me, Bam.
I
I'll
can't.
go to a female one.
You ask a woman going by.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, she's carrying a basket or something, and they're working, and they're oh, and also I should probably mention too, the drumming has not stopped since you started. It seems like there's being
Okay.
like a communication going on.
Okay.
Yeah. So you stop a woman, and she looks at you. And at first she kind of steps back a little bit because you can see she's staring right at your red hair. And then she kind of looks around like nervous, but then she kind of realizes she's in the city or whatever, and you see that she's kind of calms down a little bit, but she definitely like kind of is like backpedaling a little bit. Not
Oh,
fast,
oh no, I'm
but
sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you or startle you.
oh, what? No, why?
I just want to ask.
I did not know. You evilly brought you here,
Yes,
right?
she did. She seems like a good person.
Evilly is our child. She's the child of all.
Ainley. Oh, yes. They said that Shri raised her and that she was found in the forest.
That's right. She grew like a flower, and we found her. And she helps us. She has kept us safe. Made an arrangement with those who would murder us to keep us safe.
Well, that's certainly good. She seems good. What is the name of this village? I write stories, and I would like to write a song about this place at some point.
We call the village Gatira.
Gatira. That's a lovely name. Thank you for speaking with me.
It means safety in the old tongue.
Means safety.
None can find us here. except those that need to.
Well, I'm glad we found you, as there can be no greater need than ours at this time.
It seems
About
that way.
the walled city.
What?
Ask her about the walled city.
About the walled city?
Yeah, isn't Cirque supposed to be walled?
Yes. Have you been to the walled city of Cirque?
Oh, these flowers are beginning to wilt. I must go. It was good to meet you. And she kind of starts
Nice to
walking
meet
away
you.
with her basket of flowers.
I look back at Helene. I say, they're keeping that secret. I think if we're going to learn about Cirque, it's going to be from Evilly if she decides to trust us.
We could shake it out of them.
We could, but let's save that option for a last resort. I think that we might have a good thing here. And Ali's not here, so we might be able to keep it a good thing. No, a kid, of course. Love you, Ali. But I think that we should wait
Maybe
and
that'd
see.
be a little impulsive.
Yeah, I mean, if they decide to not help us, maybe then we start shaking people. But they might help us. Evilly doesn't seem evil. So
But she is the dark witch.
I think they mean dark-haired.
Right. Or dark as in evil. I mean, who knows? She could be eating us tonight.
Well, even without our weapons, we are not defenseless. And I, for one, do not plan on ending up in someone's stew pot tonight.
Well, they returned our weapons.
Oh yeah, that's right. But even without them, we're not defenseless. And
I always look at it this way. If you don't believe that your enemies are a match for you, you don't care if they have weapons or not. So either she thinks that she's very powerful and that she thinks that she can handle us, or she truly does trust us. I'm just
Well.
saying, we should be a little alert about someone who is known as the Dark Witch. I do get it that she has black hair.
well, as ever, we can try to be as careful as we can. But as I said, at this point, I don't know what else to do besides ask for help.
I agree.
I'm just at a loss, and I think we need the people of Cirque to help make a distraction so that we have to get that ring, and then we have to destroy it so that Jodin can't call Kraken anymore for sacrifices, and we don't want Lure to call Kraken and bring him over here and cause, Hyperborea's World War III. I can't see that happening. As I said, there's much to save, even though there's a lot of evil, there's a lot of good too. So
How many people are watching us?
No. There's people walking around, but nobody's guarding you
Well,
that you can see, anyways.
yeah. Well, it looks like they've left us alone to rest for a while. So Helen, I have this scrape on my elbow.
Yes.
Yes. It's nasty. It looks like it could be infected even.
That's horrible.
Yes.
It's a shame.
Yes.
You should take better care of yourself.
Well, I don't have baths at the ready anymore.
Right. How'd you get that?
Well, when we were trying to escape,
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
right. It's just a little scrape though. And
So
I'm
you'd
sure
like me
someone
to?
as powerful as your god Aurorus
Oh,
could see to
don't,
this simple little
no,
matter.
no, don't. Yeah. What is this? What is this? No.
I'm just saying, someone as powerful as Aurorus
Yeah,
should
no.
certainly.
That's almost condescending. Yeah,
I'll just sleep it off. It'll be fine.
yeah. You probably should. Yeah, I mean, who would want to heal you after that?
So you
That
guys
was
have
so disingenuous.
you guys are having this conversation, and you feel like a shadow, block the door, like so somebody's standing in the doorway. And you look and you can see that it's evilly. She steps in, she kind of pauses for a second, then she steps in and she says, the council will meet tomorrow, but I thought I would like to know about this world on the outside. She's really looking at Ron Seach and Helene, kind of looking at their hair and stuff, and she said, "Where? Maybe I came from there. Maybe a passage, so people could travel freely. Uh, could be found."
I think that's a definite possibility.
What is she saying?
She's saying that if she could be from outside the valley, maybe a passage so that people could travel freely could be found. Right?
Okay.
I'm gonna
Well,
ask her in each of my languages if she speaks any other language. I'm gonna ask first in Common, then Celtic, then Hellenic, and then Thracian.
Okay.
While she does
Sure.
that, I'm going to heal. I'm going to heal her.
All right. You're gonna
Or-
heal her
Oh,
right there
perfect.
in front of
That completely
I
takes
am.
care of my scrape.
all right.
Your scrape better.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Whiner.
See, I was so confident that you were going to immediately stab evilly in the face. I didn't even open her character sheet. Let me see. She speaks. Actually, she speaks common. She speaks common when you speak
Yep.
to her.
So we can all talk to her. Yay!
Yay.
Yeah, you ask her in common. She says, "Oh, I didn't know anyone else spoke this language. Only Shri has ever spoken it to me. He said he believes it is the language of my people. There was
Yes.
a book."
Where we come from, this is the most common language that people speak. We simply call it common.
Well, that's a very original name.
Well,
Yeah.
our people are not known to be very original. Outside.
So she says, those in Karak, Yodin, Tiber, used to use the bridge to cross and hunt my people. They would take 7 at a time, returning only one who could barely speak of what they saw. I made a deal that if they no longer hunted my people, I would not allow their people to cross the bridge, and any I found would be brought back.
I see. I see. I understand. You did what you had to do to save your family.
The women they sacrifice are often two.
Two.
Two people.
Mm.
I think you froze or something.
Yeah,
did?
I got, you kind of froze up there.
The people they sacrifice are often not really one, but two.
Two people.
So they sacrifice 2 people at a time.
Or are they twins?
No, they're growing.
Oh, they're twice the size of you.
No,
They're
they're duplicates.
They are with child.
yeah, they're pregnant.
That's how
I was
you
gonna,
say it.
I was gonna say it,
Oh.
but yeah.
Like,
They sacrifice pregnant women.
I cannot let that be.
No, me neither. So how do we stop this?
Can I truly trust you?
I'm Pinesta, Tenril Toze, bard extraordinaire. I've burned down Xambaala to save the satrap's wife. I rescued the
yada,
rescued
yada, yada.
travelers from, yeah, she goes on, she's like, I will help you. I promise. We will help you.
Those women who cross the river find sanctuary.
Yes. In Cirque.
Yes. If the council does not send you back, I will bring you to Cirque.
Well, we'd be most grateful for any help you could give us. As I've said, we are low on allies and short on time. I believe Laura means to have what she wants. And certainly Yoden does not plan to stop what he's doing. So this is why we saw very few children in Karak, yes?
Yes.
So they must not sacrifice every pregnant woman or there wouldn't be anybody left.
No, of course not. But they sacrificed many. There are tens of thousands of people in Karak. It's only a matter of time.
It's only a matter. Okay. Should we speak to the council or are you going to speak to them on our behalf?
They will see you tomorrow.
Okay.
If you need anything, simply ask. Juva. He calls Juva, and the woman who kind of walked out before
Yeah.
comes back. She says, Juva will stay with you tonight. And I will see you in the morning.
See you in the
And she
morning.
kind of does like a little curtsy and she walks out. And Juva comes in. And she starts arranging flowers around the room.
They're beautiful flowers. What kind of flowers are they, Chuba?
They are yellow and pink, also blue.
They're beautiful. Do I recognize the flowers as being in any paintings I've seen that I might have rolled up in my bag?
You do notice the flowers seem of similar kind of flower that you have seen in paintings.
Okay. This just kind of
That you may or
sighs.
may not have rolled up in your bag.
Right. She looks over at Rowan Seach. I think Rowan Seach is the one that knows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, she gave you the painting, I believe.
Yeah. And I'll just say things are definitely coming to an end, one way or the other. I just hope we can see this through together. And she kind of smiles.
Okay, so we'll cut to the morning unless you want to do anything else.
No, I think.
Yep.
Good. Yeah.
As noted, they feed you, they give you wine, and cakes and fruits and stuff. It's all good. Not necessarily stuff that you've had before. It's actually quite tasty. All natural, no GMOs or anything. And yeah, the next morning comes. You hear drums. That's probably how you wake. They've kind of been on and off, as you would imagine, like kind of signally. But then what you hear in the morning is kind of almost like music. You hear it start to build up slowly, and then you can see people start to leave their little dormitories, and they're heading out to the fields with their baskets and stuff. And Juba gets up and she says, "The council awaits. Evilly will come for you." And then she kind of does a little bow and she grabs her basket and shoots out the door.
Okay.
So what's your plan for the council? Are you coming like fully armored? Are you going to dress down? How do you want to approach this council meeting?
Well, what do you ladies think? Rowan Seach and Helene?
I'm gonna carry nothing because I really don't need to.
The beauty of being a magic user.
Yeah. What do you think, Helene?
I guess I'll go in with just the common gear. Just my clothes.
Okay.
I can kick everybody's butt anyway.
Yeah, I think Vanessa will just go in her regular clothes. I don't think I'm going to take my sword and stuff.
Okay. Yes, you guys are kind of maybe eating up some of the leftover food from the night forward, finishing off some wine, and having some water, cleaning up whatever you're doing in the morning. And Evilly again, enters. And she says, "The council will meet with you. And they will decide. I have spoken my piece to them, but it is you who must impress them." And then she says, "Come." And she turns and walks out.
Let's go do this.
Okay, cool. Yes, you follow, and she goes right to that building that was kind of like the Kakru, summoning building thing. And she goes, it's very similar. Basically, you start to go down kind of a long hall. The main difference you notice here is you can actually see further down. Instead of that like warm light that was kind of coming from the stone magically, you can actually see there's like shafts of light coming. And as you kind of go down into like a big open domed area, there's effectively what are stained glass windows in the ceiling, and you can see just different colored lights kind of coming in through the ceiling. And you can see in here, instead of a pool with a giant stone, there's a large garden. And the garden is filled with flowers of all different types, some you've seen before. And in the center is a throne. In front of that, there is five little people, 3 women and 2 men standing. They are actually in their dress. They're almost in like little robes, if you will, with sashes, all brightly colored. Nobody's armed or anything. And you do see off to the side, though, as you kind of look around, you can see that there are some with the little people, maybe like 24 of them with spears, are kind of off to the side. They're maybe 30, 40, 50 feet away. Yeah, as you come in with Evilly, she introduces you to the council. Second, let me make sure I got my notes. Okay, so they are. She introduces you to they are Tenna, Guna, Muka, Torn, who you saw before, who's actually on the council, and Weave. And they, as she says each of their name, they kind of raise a hand and that, and then they speak. Actually, she tells them that you speak the common tongue, but they kind of look amongst themselves and they prefer to speak in Hellenic. No, I'm sorry, Lemurian. I'm confused. Hellenic is the other place. Yeah, they're gonna speak that way because they don't all speak the common tongue. But Evilly volunteers to translate if you want, or obviously Panesta could also translate. And in the center there, Muka says, you claim to not be spies from Karak, yet your hair is the color of fire, and you come armed across the river after speaking with Lur.
It is true. I have red hair, but I was born with it. And I was born outside the valley. It is true. We came armed, and after speaking with Lur, we were run out of Karak. And as I have said, we worked with Lur when it was expedient to do so, as we are trying to accomplish a goal, and I will accomplish that goal. And if I have to use a sort of bad tool to do it, I will do it. But I know that she is not to be trusted, and she does not have the best interests of the valley or all of Hyperborea really at heart. But it is true. She returned our equipment to us after it was taken from us by minions of Jodin, like Tibor. And we were running from them. Lord helped us get across the river, but I will not, we do not trust her, nor is she our friend. She was a means to an end, nothing more.
Why did Lur help you?
Lur helped us. Oh, sorry, Rowan C. Chudley, do you want to? We're speaking common, right?
Evilly translates, so you all hear everything.
Okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to, I don't want to monopolize here, but.
Yeah, we'll just say that you can speak common and Evilly will just translate to the council. That way you don't have to be.
Okay.
Lore helped us, but only under the guise of trying to find Cirque, which we didn't want her to do. When we first found your people, Panesta told them of her hawk that was watching, trying to find the place.
So they actually the other council members all look at Torrin, who is there, and he nods and he says, "This is true. They did warn of the hawk. And your honesty seems to me, especially in these circumstances." He kind of looks at you, and you know clearly you're in a space unarmed with those people, because they don't know all the magic stuff you have.
Right.
It seems that it would be a risk if you were lying, but Laura's clever. What will you tell Lore if we send you back?
What would you want us to tell Lore?
You speak as one that will say whatever they need to get the job done. That
Well,
seems
sorry,
the
go.
opposite of the honest.
Well, in a way, that's true. I have said things before when I had to get something accomplished. I have lied before. I'll be honest about that. But we would not, we would tell, I would simply tell Lure that you are, about you, that you are keeping to your bargain that you have made. And that there is nothing here but a peaceful people who wish to live out their lives. Which is true. In reality.
Also, as I said, we do have a goal, which is to stop Kraken from coming forth, and we have to do that at any cost.
Yes.
Not sacrificing others, of course, but
Any cost that does not make us like those that we would seek to stop.
yes.
I want to stop Kraken, not become like them.
If you could sit upon the throne behind us and summon forth a beast to destroy Karak, would you do that for us?
A beast to destroy Karak. In destroying Karak, that would mean destroying Jotun, yes? And his ring.
And it would also mean destroying countless innocent people. Many of the people there don't want to worship Kraken, especially the younger ones. I wouldn't sit upon that throne.
Okay. They kind of look at each other and they say, we will speak and decide. Until then, enjoy the city and the beauty that is Gatera. And they kind of just like turn around and start walking back over into the flower patches or whatever. And
Yep.
Evilly says, oh, I will show you around, and we can pick some fresh grapes. They are in season. And she leads you out of the place, assuming you want to go with her.
Yeah, and as we walk, I'll say to Rowan Seach, thank you. I think your words also helped.
I hope so.
Okay, so yeah, she brings you around. I mean, if you want to say anything else to Evilly before, a couple hours go by and the council meets with you again, you can do that. Otherwise, you just kind of, you pick grapes and they're delicious. And you see, they're basically farmers. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I show Evilly my picture?
You can if you want.
Well, I kind of want to see, like, if she knows where the place is in the picture.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much where you just were.
That's what I thought. Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty sure. I mean, because you actually looked at the picture to compare it to the flowers.
Okay,
I'm assuming
yeah,
last
all right.
night when
Then I
you
won't,
so
okay.
yeah, since you just recently saw it, I'm going to say that you would have recognized it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look exactly because it looked like it was outside. In the painting, it looks more like it's outside, but depending on the time of day and whatever, because the light's coming through, maybe, you only see what's in the painting. You don't see the whole environment.
Okay.
But yeah, so there could be an identical place that's outside, but that's the place. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Cool. Then yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. So a couple hours goes by. They bring you back. She brings you back, I should say. You go down into the down the thing, and what you see down there is a little different than what you saw before. It's packed with people. They've got lots of their drums out and stuff. And when you come down, the console says, well, they say it in Lemurian, so you can hear it right away, Podesta, but then Evilly will translate. They say, you have shown that you have good hearts, and sanctuary has been granted. And they say that, and as soon as they do, the drums start playing, and the people start dancing, and they're basically, they start kind of having a party. And lots of these little people come running around you, and they're dancing around you and grabbing your hands and trying to get you to dance with them. And they have like flower crowns and stuff that they're gonna try to put on you and stuff. And Evilly, of course, gets to celebrating and dancing and stuff as well.
Oh, well, that's much better than them trying to kill us.
Yeah.
I say to Rosy and Helene, which is what's happened in other places.
That's better than a stick in the eye.
I'll definitely have to like bend down to let them put flowers up on my neck. I'm like 74 inches high.
Yes, you're very, very tall. And lots of little men and women are like grabbing your hands and like dancing around, and But yeah, you're quite tall. You're 6'2". Wow, yeah, you're very tall. Not unlike Helene, who thought that she was 6'6", but is actually 5, whatever it is. 6'6".
It's the attitude.
Yeah.
That's right. Helene is 6'6" in her mind.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so they start having a celebration. They bring, you see they're bringing in wine and stuff. They're playing the drums. You notice that these drums they're almost, they're a little like almost like kettle drums, like little baby ones. And you notice that there's various different tones that come out of them. So the music they're playing is really quite complex, even though it's not, you're not just hearing, you're hearing like, all different notes, high and low. And the music is quite beautiful and quite intricate. They're playing together, and the dances seem to really go with it. And it's almost, being that you've been around Ali, I mean that Podesta has, certain experience here too. You guess, not that they're trying to cast a spell upon you, but this music has some power to it. There's some kind of strength or power or magic to the music that they play. Okay. Anything special you want to do? You just go to party or not party, or what's your plan?
Helene is partying.
Yeah, I'm gonna party.
Okay.
So we'll party.
All right, we finally get everybody partying. It never does everybody party. Let me get out the carousing chart.
That's right.
Oh boy, that could get us down a whole other level. Who's getting married tonight? Okay, yeah. So they celebrate. I mean, it's into the evening time, and you drink amazing wine and eat food that is almost like it tastes like some of the best food you ever had. It's sweet and tart and everything that you ever want in food kind of mixed together. It's actually quite. It's almost like addicting, and you're filling yourselves with food and wine and feeling very comfortable and safe. It's easy to forget what's going on, possibly because of the music and the wine and stuff. You like I said, you do feel like there's some kind of again, not so much like a spell, like saving throw side kind of spell like a cast against you, but you do get a feeling, this like bubble of like safety when this music is playing, and you're able to spend the night and drink and interact or whatever. At some point, Evilly will tell you that she will take you to Cirque in the morning.
And everything tastes like lotus.
I do want to remind Evilly at some point during the night that Lure might try to follow with the hawk.
Right. Yeah. She nods. She says, "Yep." She says, "Yes, Lure may track us. She has dominion over animals, both on this side of the river and the other. And when we leave Katara, the hawk may find us, but it cannot find us here.
I could
Okay.
kill the hawk if you like.
What'd you say?
I could kill the hawk if you like.
Oh, the hawk is innocent. She's but an animal.
Fair.
I would not want harm to come to an animal.
Understood. No killing of the hawk.
I mean, unless you have to, obviously.
Yes.
But yeah. So, again, you experience an excellent night. If anybody is hurt, you're getting healed and stuff, and whatever you want to equip for your spells for the next day, you can get that ready. And we will start basically on the morning of the 22nd. The next morning, I almost said Lure. Evilly meets you. She's got like a walking stick, and she actually has, instead of being barefoot as before, she's got sandals on, and she has a little backpack. And Shri is with her. He is armed with the bow as before, but he's got it like with a quiver, like kind of strapped across him, like not set up, and he's holding a spear. And she says, "We will bring you to Cirque. The women there have no love for Karak, though they fear that Yodin could use his magic to corrupt them and destroy them if they return." And then, and then she brings you off across the fields.
What about
Hey.
Juba? Is Juba
What's that?
coming with us? What about Juba? Isn't she
You want
coming
Juba to
with
come?
us?
Are you going to ask for Juba specifically?
Yes.
All right, well, let me see. High or low?
Low.
Oh, yeah, Juba will come. You say that and kind of standing like off to the side, like with kind of picking some flowers. She hears her name. She jumps up. Oh, well, as it turns out, I've got this bag already packed. And all right, so we'll give Juba with you as well. All right, so Juba's also with you. Okay, yeah, so she just has like a little stick or whatever. She's not a warrior per se. You do
We'll
notice
turn her
though,
into one.
the teacher, yeah. You do note that Shri has like kind of also kind of attached like on his like it's a belt for like a better word, one of those little drums. And and you guys are off. So you go off through the fields, where they do the planting and stuff, and you see them out there, they're farming and whatnot. When you get to the edge of the field, Shri stops and takes his drum out, and he bangs the thing, and you hear from far away on the other side of the forest, you hear a reply. It's like a little conversation, if you will, with the drums. And then they head, on this map, it's basically down, straight down through the forest, through a path. It's fairly heavily forested, but Shri is very careful to kind of keep you under the trees. Whenever there's any clearings or whatever, he definitely, dodges away from it. And Evilly will explain that once you've left basically the farmlands, once you've left the trees that circle Katara, then no longer will you be out of Lure's vision. So they're being careful not to be followed at this point. And let me just make a little roll here. Actually, I don't think we've rolled any dice yet today, have we? No dice rolling. Oh, Crystal, you're up there in the upper left-hand corner. Go ahead and roll a d6 for me.
Oh yeah, of course, me.
Oh, yes. Oh,
3.
nice, okay. Oh, 3's not bad. All right, yeah, so you travel for a bit through the forest. Every once in a while, like I say, she stops and kind of puts you into a darkened area, but to your knowledge, you don't encounter any birds or wolves or anything like that. In fact, you encounter really no animals except for small things like squirrels and such running around. And eventually, you come out to to kind of a grasslands, and you can see across this grass. Remember, each one of these hexes is a mile. A river basically, and you can see that there's like steam coming off and bubbles and spurts of water shooting up out of the river, and you can see to if you're looking at the screen, it would be off to the left where the river comes out of basically a stone again with this kind of glacial stones. It's pouring through it, so it must be bubbling up through it. A massive waterfall, and then it goes and it kind of crosses the entire front of what is a large wall that, as you would recognize, like a protective wall around the city. And you can see on top of the wall there are patrols of people. They're probably archers or something. At this distance, you can't really make out exactly what they are, but you see people on the wall. And of course, as soon as you step out into the field, you hear immediately drum beats, and Shri stops and pulls his drum out and drums back. And then there's a quick exchange, and then he nods, and you walk forward across the fields. When you get closer to the boiling river, that's probably maybe 100 feet wide. It's not super wide, but it is. I mean, like the temperature is really warm around this thing. You see the steam coming up from it. They do actually drop a drawbridge, and you can see into the city, and there's a portcullis and all that other stuff, and you're able to come in. They let you in, obviously, because you're with Shri and Evilly. Okay. So you are met at the kind of the just outside the murder hole area by a small group of women. They are all redheads. These ones are in armor with spears, and of course, you kind of, as you would, look behind you over your shoulder. You see the women on the walls with the archers behind you, about a dozen or so. And Evilly speaks to them, of course, in Hellenic, just to make things more complicated. Because she speaks Hellenic as well, but she does not speak Hyperborean, so that's how she can talk to them. Now this means that I think Rowan, Seach, and Helene can understand, but Panesta can't.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So she says she kind of tells the brief story, that the and she says kind of who you are and what you seek. One of the women in the middle, Kilo Zor is her full name. She speaks. She says, "I'm Kilo Zor. We welcome all into the city of Cirque, but we have not the numbers to fight against Karak. If it were not for the impenetrable walls which we have here, they would have wiped us out long ago. We only number less than 2,000.
Rowan Sage will translate all this to Panesta.
Well, we really just need help. Well, I don't know. There has to be a way that we can work together to stop the horrors that are happening there. There must be. That's what I'll say.
We understand that Jodin possesses a ring, and if we could obtain that ring, we could likely stop the sacrifices that are currently happening, and Kraken as well. This wouldn't require an army, a small group to locate Jodin, and for us to sneak in and retrieve the ring would be all it would take.
She says, They say that any woman who touches the ring of Kakru is instantly destroyed. And no man will stand up to Yodin.
Well, that's what we have bags for. Grab the ring with a bag.
She kind of, she looks at you, she says, I do not think a simple sack will prevent the magic of Kakru, the dimensioner dweller, the destroyer of all. If only life were so simple, she laughs.
Well,
I'm not. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I'm not sure that that magic like that exists, because we have met a woman who wants to obtain the ring so that she can summon Kraken into this world herself, although she wants to do it forever, which is what we don't want.
Well, that woman must be a fool.
Well, yeah. She is.
So she says, it's probably now like, because you're moving slow through the forest. It's probably like midday, like maybe a little bit later. And she says, well, sorry, I do not mean to be rude and leave you in the courtyard. Come, let's break fast and discuss this. And she leads you to a building. This place is it's a city or a town with it's basically this massive protective wall. But once you get past it, it's kind of like a regular town with like wooden houses and stuff. And beyond that, you see that there are fields. And I guess actually standing down there, you would really be able to see that there. I think you will see all that. Yeah. That there is effectively these fields here. And then all around the entire perimeter are these like glacial, like super tall peaks, kind of like when you came in and you had to go through the volcano to get through it. That's basically what you're looking at here. You're basically at the edge of the valley, the far edge of the valley. All the ones with the white around them are all like frozen peaks, and the other ones are just like regular. But anyways, and then there's like, she brings you into like kind of a large kind of central place, and people bring, as people do, they bring over wine and fruit and food and bread and stuff, cheese, kind of stuff. And you are introduced to the what is effectively the mayor or whatever, the leader, not the military leader, but the leader of the people, Garavan. She is she's a little older. And she comes in. Kilo is you find to be she's the head of the warriors, kind of what Tibor was in the other situation. And she says, we fled here with the help of the little people years ago. The city of Cirque, from which you now sit, is really myth to them. Those across the river know not of our existence. They fear us, but deep down, I think they believe that we perish when we cross the river. For if that were not true, then the thousands of warriors from Karak would rain down arrows and hammers upon the little people.
I think they believe you exist.
Why would you think that?
Because they have tried to recruit us to find you and report back, which we're not going to do, by the way. Tibor especially.
Hmm.
And Lure, of course. They all want to know where you are.
Well,
And we've
these
been
walls-
accused of being spies from Cirque. So
she smiles. We are safe here. We welcome more women to come. To assault Karak would be foolhardy, especially behind those walls.
okay.
But I do want to help. I am one of the first to be brought here. Shri himself led me to this area. We do not know who built this wall, but the women here have built the farms and town beyond. The wall on the other side of the boiling river was perhaps sent by the gods to protect us.
Perhaps. Were you all with child when you came here?
Most. Some women fled with others who were not meant. Some women who fled were not to be sacrificed. They were helping those who were not.
Okay. I'm glad that you were able to escape.
He says, we have very, very little, but even with our small force, we could defend Cirque. I do not think in the open we would have much of a chance against Tibor's men.
Right.
Let alone the full force of Karak.
Tibor is a problem.
Tibor is a problem.
Jotun is a problem. Ugh.
Jotun is a problem.
There's got to be a way. I just can't see it yet, but there has to be a way to do this. Elgor, Ornseach, and Helene. We didn't come all this way just to end it here. We have to figure something out.
I don't know. I keep trying to think of a way to turn Lure against Tibor. It seems to be the best bet. I just don't know how to do it.
Oh, I don't think she likes him.
Oh no, I mean, get her to attack Tibor.
Oh. Oh. I would say just let Tibor be himself around her, but she's lived around him for a long time and hasn't killed him yet, so that probably won't work.
Yeah.
Helene? Does Auroras have any guidance to give?
Auroras.
I don't know who anybody worships anymore.
It's because you're just a pagan.
No, I wrote it down. Helene worships Auroras.
Yes,
Okay, so
I do worship Auroras.
So then why did you say it like?
Well, you're
Okay.
just a pagan. Why do you care?
Because in my time of need, one of the gods actually did help me. So I actually do believe gods can be helpful if they want to be. And at this point, we need.
Yeah, but you run around with that guy named Rel, right?
I mean, we've had our moments together.
Yes. Okay. And suddenly, oh, it's Aurora's. It's time for Aurora's.
Well, Rel's already given me my like third, fourth, second chances at life.
Yeah. We'll just throw a few coins in the pot and see what happens, won't we?
Well, if not for Auroras, then do you have any guidance?
Well, shall we see what Lore or Tibor are doing?
Ow.
I'll do divination.
Oh,
Okay.
like, magic. Okay. So you, what would you say? I mean, are you gonna let you're sitting here you're in console with that you're gonna let her know you're doing this, right?
Yeah,
Making magic. Okay.
I will.
Yeah. She,
I don't care.
right. Yeah. So,
They better get used to it.
yeah. Shah says, you have a means through spellcraft to see them. This is I've never seen such a thing. The magic of Yodin is strong,
What?
but magic is not common here.
Well, you know there's life outside of the valley, right? We keep
There was
telling
word.
people that.
Yeah, so she says, there was word sent to us that was the case. Those who dwell from outside the valley. But how you could possibly live in a world that was destroyed by a crew, I do not understand or know. But that you stand here looking at us, and that Evilly herself seems to be, though they often say she is sprouted from a flower, it seems she may have come from somewhere else as well. I do not doubt your claim. Let's see.
So, well, do you mind if I do magic here?
Oh, I would be very happy to see magic if it could help bring peace. These women here, and she kind of puts her hand up, and you notice there are a bunch of other women around. They're just kind of like, they're not like guarding you per se, but there's a bunch of women in here that are clearly soldiers. And you can see they range anywhere in age from probably just eyeballing them anywhere from like 13 to 30-ish. Shah being in her 40s, as far as you could tell. She says, those here who have fled do not just flee for their lives. They flee because they do not believe in what is become of Karak, what is, maybe has always been. We do not know. We only have what the book says, and only the high priest reads the book.
I see. Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Read
Pinesta,
it
what
out.
is it that you want divined? What would you like to know? What question?
Well, this is a very important question. I would like to know, I think Tibor, while dangerous, is a bit predictable. He's Yodin's guy, and he wants things to stay the same. I think lure is the real wild card here. So I need to know Is she watching us with her animal? I mean, well, we know she is. I guess we need to look at lore instead of Tibor. What do you think, Rowan Seach?
Yeah, I would like to know what Laura's up to, for sure. Know if she knows anything about where we're at, or
Yeah.
Okay.
So you wish to know if she is aware of where our presence is.
Yes, has she figured out that we're at Cirque and where it is?
Well, let's see what we know. I will begin.
Okay. The room becomes quiet as you meditate upon your spell.
Yep.
And you see, your vision kind of blurs, and you feel like your body is light, and you kind of open your eyes and you just see mist in front of you. Of course, everybody else is just looking at you, just sitting there. Maybe you're chanting. What is it that you want to know?
Yeah.
Speak, child of Hyperborea.
They're all looking at me like, this is it. This
This is it. This is all you get.
She's sitting in the middle of a floor.
No candles or anything.
Just is what is Laura's awareness of where we are at?
That's pretty easy. The one called Lore seeks you and cannot find.
Ah,
She is blinded by distance and time. She fears you are not truthful to your oath.
Yeah, I'll kind of just channel this as it's coming through my brain. I will just allow it to channel through my mouth.
okay. So she doesn't know, I say to Rowan Seach.
seems that way. She's
Oh,
also
she's-
fearful that we're not truthful to her.
Oh yeah, she's not stupid. But at least she doesn't know where Cirque is. Because I think you were right in your suspicion that would be very bad.
Yeah. Well, fear can be a great ally for us. Don't know how yet.
Get
Okay,
up and I'll speak. Is that okay, or do you guys need more? I'm speaking to the little people and everybody else around here, because I know you guys are okay with it. Anybody need a little healing?
Flexing, I like it.
Yes.
Yeah, you could see people are pretty much like nervous, in having seen such power displayed, but not hostile nervous. More like, wow, like they've never seen anything like that before.
Do I see any obvious wounds or diseases or anything like
see.
that?
High or low?
What?
High or low?
Low.
Yeah, you do, actually. You actually see, as you're kind of getting up, you see that one of the warriors is kind of standing away from some of the other ones. You could see some markings on her face and some swelling. kind of like what you saw on I forget who had it last time. They got hit by the bug.
Oh yes.
Was that Revna? Well, Revna, yeah. Like you could actually see markings on her like that, and you could see swelling on the side of her face. That she's clearly been poisoned, which is effectively a disease by some kind of bug.
We'll do cure disease on her.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. I mean, you do that. People are now they're just like, and you could definitely hear chatter. Although, well, I guess you would hear it. Well, actually, no. They're speaking Hyperborean because they don't to each other. They speak in Hyperborean. They're only speaking Hellenic to Laura because she doesn't speak Hyperborean.
That's for 5 hit points.
Oh, nice. All right, yeah. So yeah, it deals up, and you can see that you're definitely getting a whispers and stuff are happening. And Shah, of course, notices the people.
Does a worm pop out of that person?
No, it's a similar thing, not the same.
She wants to stick it in a petri dish.
Yeah,
Oh, I was actually going to.
Oh well, we got hold on, high or low.
Hi.
No, unfortunately not. It just the worm must have already come out. It just heals up. Witnessing this and the excitement of the people, Kilo, the warrior, she stands up and she says, possibly speaking out of turn, but she says, the time has come. If this isn't a sign enough that Karak must fall, I don't know what else could be. We must kill the witch woman and the men who have wanted us as their sacrifice. And so you see some of the women kind of cheer, and then kind of Shaw looks around a little bit and people kind of, get a little more quiet. And you can see they're kind of eyeballing each other now, Shaw and Kilo. Don't speak out of turn kind of look. There's a little tension, but you can see that there's definitely energy in the room and likely in Cirque to help. They just aren't really exactly sure how. As noted, I mean, they tell you you came with Evely, who they trust with their, with their lives. They tell you that they've got, about 1,500 footmen and only about 20 horses. So they have a pretty small army. Of course, the little people number about 400 archers. There are more than that, but these are these are fighting people. I mean, anybody can fight, obviously, but these are actual people that fight. Like all of Cirque is probably double that in population, but there's children and older people and people that have been injured beyond being able to do more than just defend themselves, so they wouldn't march off into war. And the city is pretty, based on what you can see, and they will show you around if you want to see it. It's a very defensible place, with the drawbridge, the 100-foot boiling river, and the steep mountains around it. It doesn't feel like you could be able. I mean, you could probably get in here because you can fly and stuff, but like a regular army setting siege would have a heck of a time, especially since all the lands and the farms and stuff are back here. So it's not like they need to leave for anything, except by maybe more lumber and meat and stuff, but they could survive for a long time in here under siege. So they're very defensible, but they're not offensible, if that makes sense.
I know this might sound stupid, but being as defensible as they are, what if we just let Lore go through with her plan?
Exactly.
You mean to bring Kraken through and destroy the ring and keep him here forever in some?
No,
No,
not that part.
no.
But to let
Just gonna clarify here.
Yeah, let's all get our tentacles up.
I serve Kraken, so should you. But no, to let her tell Tibor where Cirque is and bring his army out, that would leave the city vulnerable we could get into Jotun and take his ring and destroy it.
Yeah.
And maybe many of the women could escape as well that don't want to be there anymore. They could
Yes.
go to the hidden village where they'll be safe. Only
Yeah, I
those who
agree. I
need
don't
it
think we
can
want
find
to
it.
take on. We don't want to take on the combined forces of Lore and Tabor.
No, I agree. That's why we let her go through with that part. Lure Tabor out, and then we go into the city while they're away and take the ring and destroy it.
Okay. That might not be a bad idea. I just don't want, these people to be harmed if we can help it.
Well, like we said, like we can see here, this is a very defensible place. They could withstand a siege easily. Even if Tibor were to try to hold this place, like they could easily survive inside here.
Boy, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't see any other way. So we just let lure Tibor out here.
Or we tell Tibor ourselves and don't let the Lord know a darn thing.
That's true. Although Tibor hates us as now we are accused of trying to kill Jotun.
Yeah.
Or at
Right.
least he's supposed to hate us.
Well, if Lore thinks that is suspicious, let's not get her suspicious. Let's just tell her.
Yeah.
We're going to take her out eventually anyway.
Okay, that's true. Okay. Yep.
Might as well keep her an ally as long as we can.
Agreed.
And if they know the attack is coming here in Sturk, they can prepare, which will make it even more defensible.
Yes.
What do you think about the whole not being able to touch the ring or?
I think that's a bunch of hooey. But you know what? I can cast flaming missiles at it if that'll make you feel better.
I
I
think
suppose
it's
we
a
could just.
rumor.
You could use one of your fireball things.
That's right.
What a better way of keeping women away from a ring than
Yeah.
to say that women can't pick it up.
Very true.
Yeah. And on the off chance we're wrong, then we die in a glorious fashion trying to prevent the rise of Kraken.
And Rowan Siege will try first.
Of course I will.
We can always just take his hand off too.
Yes.
Then the ring's still on his hand. But
I
we
like
have
the
it.
way you think.
Yeah. Well, I really hate that guy. So.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna fireweb him.
What has Yoda never done to you?
What are you talking? Got her pin cushioned. You can't. No, that one doesn't fly.
I mean, it was Tibor the pincushioned her.
Tibor on behalf of Jotun, please.
All right.
No, you're not thinking
listen, I am a neutral arbiter.
He's a creepy old man. Crime enough.
Exactly. You were going to sleep with him. Gosh. I began to think that whole Snake Man thing wasn't a rumor.
Nobody really knows what happened there. Nobody, not even me.
That's true. Nobody does know. So what? So what we're saying here is that you want to go back across the river to contact Lore or Tibor.
Or
You got to go back to Karak to do that?
No, I think we should go.
I think we should just go to Lore's palace.
Yeah,
Okay.
if we can get
Back
by
to the
Karak.
Dark Tower.
Yeah, I mean, you have a general idea here. I mean, that they do anyways of the layout of the land. So, yeah, you could actually, because of course they saw you come across the river, so they know you have a boat that folds down. You could actually, Shri tells you that if you stay along the edge of the valley, you could cross the river and kind of circle. I mean, you can't see it obviously on this, but effectively there's a path that I'll clear it off before you do it next time. But effectively, you stay like what is effectively the edge of the valley is like this, and you can kind of cross and stay low if you want to avoid Karak. It's just going to take longer, obviously, and be
Right.
risky because you're going to be going to the jungle. But you could definitely do that because you don't need the bridge to cross.
Just in case there are women that want to escape Karak, how do they get across the river and find the city that only those who need it can find it?
You're asking who? Evilly?
Yeah.
So she says that some of my people, my children, watch the river at the bridge at all times. And if someone swims across, we try to help them. Though most do not make it across by swimming. For there are giant slugs in the river.
So we can take the women with us and load up our boat and take as many across as possible.
Right. Or you could, I mean, the river's pretty wide, but the bridge is only broken in the middle. So if you could create some kind of a way to cross, you need to, you could do that as well. And then people could storm across it. But that would be actually, interestingly enough, if Tibor is going to come across, they're obviously going to have a way to come across. So they'll probably end up building, some kind of a structure to get across.
True.
Like an engineer. I mean, that would be you would probably guess that because otherwise, how is he going to get across? They don't. They don't have magic,
Right.
of that sort, anyways.
And just in case we do need it, Panesta, you have a way to be able to get people across, right?
I do.
With your magic, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have a couple different ways.
Indeed.
So.
Okay, so you're going to head across the southern portion. Well, it's southern on this map, but it's actually technically, I think, east of the Valley of Mists, heading towards Lore's, the Lake of the Lost Souls. That's what I called it. And where her tower is, and yeah, I mean, they'll give you some food and stuff to travel, and Shri will come with you, not evilly, because she's not really. I mean, she's got to go back to her people, but Shri, not Juba either. Sorry, but he'll lead because he's capable of doing all that by himself because he can travel by himself out in the wilderness. Well, I guess I'll just stay with you unless you don't want him to. And I think we'll probably just start that up next time, right? We'll do a little hex crawl action.
Okay.
I'll ask Juva if she wants to come.
Yeah, Juva will come. Juva immediately says yes.
Yes, good.
She has her bag of her basket of flowers. Although in her basket of flowers, she has a drum, which might become useful at some point. All right, so we'll have to remember that. Juva and Shri are coming. All right. Anything else as we leave us?
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Ring the notification bell for next time.
That was
Fantastic.
kind of
That sounds like good advice.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you next time.